those sort of people. They very much your generation. But let's have a look at the first race. And the first race should actually on our agenda be the women's pairs. So just ignore that for a second. The start list, as you see the boats. Well, in fact, lightweight men's pairs.
Yeah, that's the lightweight men's pairs. And we've got on that start list, we've got in lane 1 Portugal, Fernandes de la Viega and Gonçalves Coelho. The Spanish Vega Maggi and Sigurdsson Bennett, and then the Italians Guido Gravina and Giorgio Tuncaneardi. The Swiss pair, I really like this pair. Simon Nieper and Lucas Tranmere out of the 4 from last year. The Swiss 4, and then the Germans Jan-Philipp Birkner and Chris Herpel in lane 5. And the Greeks, Georgios Konsolis and Nicholas Afentoulis out in lane 6.
So 3 international races before we come to the Olympic category finals. And the wind, absolutely straight headwind, straight down the course here. So as Martin said, the times will not be quick, but real interesting. Perhaps the Swiss Simon Niepen and Lucas Tranmere, well, will they one day turn out to be as good as the Gear brothers were all those years ago?
Well, it's a really important year for the Swiss. They had a very disappointing Olympics. That 4 was sort of out caught on the far side, difficult wind conditions, and you know, it's a time for regrouping, and so doing well in the lightweight pairs, and they've also got another 2 of that 4 entered in the lightweight double sculls coming later is important for the Swiss and their coach Simon Cox. It's going to be about, this race will take them about 7 minutes really. It's going to be a fair old slog for them.
Yeah, quite a difference. It was around 1994 that the birth of this whole centre was realised in the mind, but then brought to fruition for the World Championships in 2002. It's also in 1994 that the Irish lightweight pair of O'Connor and Maxwell set what still stands to be the world best time for this event, 6:26, which gives you a guide to the difference in times today. European best time is 6:46. That was Niepen and Tranmere right here. And that's, of course, earlier in the regatta, but you're not going to see that time in this final.
No, there was beautiful tail. Well, not a very strong tailwind condition, but nice sort of gentle breeze down the course for those heats in the lightweight men's pairs, and they beat the Spanish, I thought, comfortably in that they had about 3 or 4 seconds at the finish in the heat.
And I have to say, Martin, it's slightly uncharacteristic to have this wind earlier in the day. We know that it grows towards the afternoon, but yesterday and today it's a little unusual, but it did settle pretty quickly in the morning, so hopefully it will again.
Well, last night the river was flat as I drove over out into town, and I think with this headwind you do get a settling in the evening. When the tailwind's blowing, then the wind's going to keep you cool all the way through the evening. So here we go.
So lane 1 furthest away from you will be Portugal, 2 from the top of your picture will be Spain, Italy, then Switzerland, Germany. Greece are going to be closest to you. Giovanni Postigliani, the guru of Greek rowing, who really has to survive these days because of all the financial crisis in that country, on a pittance really compared to what they once upon a time had. And remarkable that he's got crews in here to the finals.
A lot of the rowers, you know, from that Olympic team have stopped to do different things. Really, it's
almost become force majeure. They've had to find a job to work.
Completely.
So different times.
Do you know, they're holding them a long time on the start, and you know, I think always in those conditions, waiting for the off, is the umpire just calling them. You know, it is a little nerve-wracking just to sit there on the start. You know, you've got your mind that a race is going to start at a certain time, and they're a couple of minutes delayed.
The final of the men's lightweight pairs, and pretty good start there. The Spanish were actually sharp off the blocks there. Two from the top of your picture. That's Vela Maggi and Sigurd Jonsson, and they you can just see them two from the top of the picture, and that is a sharp start by the home crew. And also the Swiss, Simon Nietman and Lucas Trammer would be up there with them.
Yeah, well, we know how important it is to get out quickly. I mean, certainly I think as they go under the first bridge, which is around 200 metres, crews are going to be getting into their rhythm, and we'll see if the Spanish are going to maintain that surge. I would really take the Swiss to come through and dominate the Spanish. It was a Swiss-Spanish sort of 1-2 in the first heat, and in that race the Swiss were about 3/4 of a length in front of the Spanish at the 500 metre mark. We're about 300 now, so I think race is going according to plan, but the Swiss very, very strong favourites for this race.
And of course these partnerships together must not, as an average, weigh more than 70 kilos individually. No man in the boat may weigh more than 72.5 kilos.
Yeah, there was a move in the sport to change that. I'm just looking at the stroke rating, about 37.5, 38 strokes a minute. So I think the coaches might have adjusted the gearing of the blades, which makes it a little more easy for the guys to just connect with the water and push through when their boat's moving slower in the headwind. But the Swiss certainly up there as they come to 500 metre mark. That's a very, very healthy lead. And for these guys that were really hoping for an Olympic medal in the lightweight fours last year to come fifth, I mean, they are strong favourites, and that's a great lead. 146.17 through the 500 metre mark.
And clear water there for the Swiss, as you can see. Spain in second place there, and then you've got the Italians, Gravina, Tuccinari, the third partnership here. But the Swiss, the harmony is good, the length is good.
Well, a lot goes down to all the training they'll do out on Lake Zarnum, which is where the Swiss national team is based, and their British coach Simon Cox, who's been working with them now as their head coach for some 2 or 3 years, replaced Tim Foster. And Simon Cox's star is a real rising star in the world of rowing. A lot of people are interested in his style, the way he gets his crews to row. Former lightweight gold medalist in 1994 in Indianapolis. And he really does like to see the crews train very, very hard, but move the boat sympathetically. And as you watch the Swiss there out in front, you can see how well connected they are. They're very loose, they're very fluid the way they connect, as we just have a shot of those two Italians over there. Gravina Tuncardi, Gravina, the bowman, finished first in the under-23s. See there the shot, the bowman's the one with the blade on this side. He was in first in the under-23 fours in Trakai, and that's a very, very tough competition.
Yeah, they've responded quite well, the Italians, in this particular quarter, because they've got it, the angle doesn't really show it, but they've actually pretty close on the Spanish now to get the overlap. Spanish now putting in an effort as well. You can see they're 3/4, almost a length down. If you gauge it by the buoy lines, we're at the half distance here, but in fact now you get a better view of it. Clear water, but the Italians are really closing on the Spanish now. They're almost back on terms.
Yeah, well, the Italians qualified by winning the other heat, and they went through the 1,000 metre mark a fraction quicker than the Spanish in their heat. The Spanish were in the Swiss heat. The Italians beat the Germans to qualify. But they do have a strong third 500. They were 143 in their heat for the third 500 metres, and just fractionally quicker than the Spanish pair. So this is going to be the key part of the race for the Italians and the Spanish. But there is, a real buzz about the Spanish team here, and we've seen it with their Spanish lightweight 4 winning the heats on Friday. The big success, the Spanish 8 winning this morning. Just how important it is
in the B final.
In the B final, albeit, but anyone is going to be great. And when we come under this bridge now, for those of you that know the course in Seville, it's really just about 650, 700 metres.
Yeah, this is the Barchetta Bridge they're going under at the moment. But
right over the boys, the Swiss there. You see, that's an interesting one because you can see Simon Neatman's blade right on those buoy line, and really you kind of just come off a little bit now, but you know, if your blade does catch one of those buoys, it does completely slow you down, and the Spanish are still fighting to hold off the Italians, David.
Yeah, I think they've done really well, the Spanish, because they've been asked a couple of questions by the Italians and they've actually answered them in a really good way. So at the moment it's just under, well, it's just about half a length, but you can see there the stress that's coming into that Spanish boat on the far side.
You know, I think it's going to be interesting to see how this result turns around from the heat. The Spanish up at 38, the Italians at 34. Just how much the extra distance in the headwind is going to really make a difference to the last quarter.
The last 500 metres of the final of the lightweight men's pairs in the European Championships of 2013. The Swiss clear at the moment, and Italy and Spain. Spain on the far side, top of your picture, fighting it out for silver and bronze medals. And Italy beginning to raise their game, as traditionally their crews do, coming with a flourish towards the end. Now it's just about quarter of a length, and you can just see now the Italians pouring it on, desperately wanting to get at least into silver.
I would think the Italians are going to take that medal. But look at the form. But you know, let's take a look at the Swiss pair, just sitting as they sit there, that very comfortably. They've really worked for that in the first 750 metres of the race. And now as they come down towards us, they've pretty much got the race in control. All the work's done. They can look at the fight behind them with 250 metres to go.
And it's the Italians who've got the bow of their lightweight pair in front here. And now it's a question, have the Spanish got anything more to offer? They're in bronze medal position, and I think they're pretty secure in that sense. But this has been pillar to post, gun to tape here for the Swiss. But you can see what the sprint's doing. The sprint between the Spanish and the Italians is now bringing them, drawing them back to the Swiss. But the Swiss, the line will come in time for them. Spanish on the far side, raising their game. And this is what it does on home water. Who wants it most? The Swiss cozily take the lightweight men's pair. The Italians will take the silver medal, and Spain will take the bronze, with Germany, yeah.
I'll tell you what, there was nothing cosy about the last 10 strokes for the Swiss. They were dying. You can see them there, but that is a massive win for the Swiss pair. Really, Switzerland been in the final, but they haven't managed to produce a win at a major event like this. And great effort from the Italians to get through the Spanish. But although the Spanish will be disappointed, a medal at the European Championships is a big, big deal for them, and their supporters will be pleased with that. But I think all credit to the Swiss. You know, Simon Cox is trying to put Swiss rowing back on the map. I think getting rowers that can win, that want to win, that are hungry for the results is key to his strategy, and that's what these two have shown. Great to take these guys out of the lightweight four, you know, first year after the Olympics, put them in the pair. But I'll tell you what, you saw the extra distance there, didn't you? The last 10, I mean, they were down at 35.5, 36. They were absolutely tying up as they came through to the finish. The Germans there, well, disappointed that they finished fourth, Bertner and Herpel. The spares for the team.
This is how they got away, and really the race established itself very early, and the Swiss, who built up that cushion of advantage, as I think you correctly assessed when I used the word cosy. I think it was cosy in the sense that they had that advantage.
Yeah, well, you saw that they had to have that because the sprint closed up. But I mean, that's how you win races.
Yeah.
You put your cards out, they train hard, they race hard. I mean, you know, this is a long race. What they finished in 7:23. But they were dying at the finish. They wanted that finish. They didn't look round for the finish line. But their legs were tying up because they do connect well on the legs, so the lactic acid really drenches the legs, makes them ache, and just ache for that finish line to come along.
Pretty grueling, as Martin said, 7:23. That's almost a minute down on the world best time. And Switzerland take the gold, Italy the Spain, silver and bronze respectively, and well clear of Germany, Greece and Portugal.